My name is Colette and I'm the payroll manager for DRG Outsourcing. What has got me to where I am now, certainly at this point in my life, because I think that it's still a massive journey ahead, is really my family and values, the values that my family taught me, and our son, and just being grounded. All the other stuff and titles and qualifications that we acquire along the way is just really what we pick up and tack into how we do things and add value. So my family is very grounded, and I come from a very grounded family, rather. And I'm married to the most amazing man in the whole world. And we have a really beautiful life. And I have a son who's differently abled, and he certainly keeps us humble and keeps us on that knife edge of joy and grief. And I think that that's a very good place to be. It teaches one to be grateful. And I think I've experienced a number of challenges, both in my professional space and both in my personal space with my son. And I think that I've overcome them because of sheer determination. I think the challenges that we all as women face in business is just being recognized as women and for the contribution that we make. And I think that how I've overcome those challenges are just being determined and becoming as qualified as I can and learning as much as I can, as diverse a field as possible, so that in every situation you can draw from this diversity and bring it all together. And I think that that's important, is that you have as much know-how and knowledge over a large scale of areas so that you can contribute, because that just makes, you can draw from this wealth of information. My areas of expertise is definitely people. I really enjoy anything that has to do with people, and certainly bringing the person down to being a human. And because I think when people are their real selves, their authentic selves, that is when they can add the best value. The challenges that we face in the HR and payroll space is that it's this moving ball. There's legislation to consider. There's the people factor. You add people to anything, and you're going to come up with all sorts of dynamics. The biggest challenge is that, we're governed by legislation, we're governed by regulations that have us having to practice in a certain way. Of course, we have to adhere to legislation. It becomes very complicated to navigate this space, because there's the people dynamic, and everyone is different. Everyone has a different expectation. Everybody has a different slant on an interpretation on what this people management, this payroll management needs to look like. And of course, everyone is a payroll and HR expert. So it becomes challenging, because you have to be measured and you have to do it right. I overcome those challenges by just adding value as much as I can, keeping it real, keeping it calm, and just understanding that sometimes when you're having to troubleshoot, that people can be quite difficult, and if you remain calm and you identify with that person as just being a human being who has a bit of a problem, we all have those issues, and dealing with it in that way, in a gentle and kind way, that we can overcome them. And that's typically how I attempt to overcome those challenges. My future goals are to grow DRG, and to continue having people identify DRG as this gift. That's my goal. DRG is a gift, and I want to grow on that and have all our employees, our partners, continue to gain as much value as possible out of DRG. The advice to younger women following in my footsteps is certainly to keep it real. All the other stuff doesn't matter. Keep the mystery. Don't tell everybody everything that you have. Just be unassuming, be authentic, and keep it real. At the end of the day, you have to reconcile with who you are. And as long as you're keeping it real and keeping it authentic, you certainly can reconcile with that. Yeah. The impact that I've made on my business is by continually having a focus on progressing and staying relevant. We've and also constantly focusing on business efficiencies. Over the period that I've been with DRG, we certainly have grown in so many ways. It's just a collaboration of all of our ideas, but certainly focused on not necessarily reinventing ourselves, but always have a focus on staying relevant. How is the world changing, and how are we responding to that change, and in most cases staying ahead of the curve with those changes, and not being on the back foot. So that's certainly what my focus has been and my impacts in business. What I do to relax and unwind is I enjoy running, I enjoy swimming, and I enjoy cycling. Greg and I, my husband, we do a lot of things. We are very active together in terms of our running and our cycling, and yeah, that's my downtime. Being part of this initiative is an honor for me to represent DRG and represent women, and it's certainly a privilege. I certainly want to showcase the real woman, and I want to showcase the authentic woman, and that's what I believe I represent.